last night, Vic and I went to the movies.
Yes, we did.
This time we saw our old friend, the Wolverine. Of course, Hugh Jackman is back. And just like in every one of these X-Men movie or Wolverine experiences, you can't take your eyes off this man. Just like watching the show, you can't take your eyes off Victor Lucas.
Oh, that's a very nice thing to say.
Yeah.
The movie starts off with an awesome sequence where the Wolverine is trapped by Japanese soldiers just as the bomb is about to drop on Nagasaki, and he saves one of them.
Spoiled too much.
Okay.
Keep going. Be careful, though. I'm watching you, Lucas.
Okay. He gets an invitation from this soldier as an older gentleman who invites him, to come to Japan and say goodbye. And so he goes to Tokyo, and there's some really cool fish out of water sequences where we've got this vicious feral beast in a very structured, disciplined society. And I actually liked that as the conceit for the film very much.
You know what I like the most about this film, and you're talking about it right now, it's the first third of this movie, especially the opening. I love the Nagasaki sequence, and I love the parts of the film that are wordless like that because they feel like comic panels that have come to life.
It's an honor to meet the Wolverine.
That's not who I am anymore.
I mean, everything just feels like it's paced differently than it normally is in a superhero movie, and I like the fact it's a little more leisurely. It takes time to set everything up. Once you get through that sort of wordless sequence at the beginning, that montage, which is so fun to watch, we really get a lot of exposition after that. We meet a lot of characters. It's a long time before we see the Wolverine take this off and let it all out and start doing this.
What kind of monster are you? The Wolverine.
And when the mutants appear in the movie, it feels a little weird because Hugh Jackman is a mutant, but he presents himself as a regular guy because we're kind of getting to know him as a regular guy in this movie. When we see Viper, who is one of the characters in this thing,
played by Svetlana Kordakova.
And I think she does an admirable job playing an X-Men villain, but it feels a little incongruous with the other rhythms of the movie.
I totally agree with you because as soon as you see that little flicker of her tongue, everything just gets cheapened a little bit for some reason because it's trying to be more than just another comic book summer movie. But then you see the little
and then it falls into some really familiar traps towards the end. I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the Silver Samurai. I love the idea.
I don't know who that is.
But it was the giant robot thing that Hugh Jackman has to fight. Beautiful imagery, don't get me wrong, but it delved into familiar superhero movie territory, you know, this sort of end climactic battle sequence.
And I think whenever this movie is at its best is when it's going places that superhero movies don't, the summer movies don't normally go to.
It feels very different, doesn't it? Like most of this movie doesn't feel like anything you've seen. It's framed differently. There's so much human wizardry with all of these ninja and martial artists sort of flipping a plan.
We haven't seen ninjas in ages in
movies. They're amazing in this.
Yeah, it's so fun. They silently work through these encampments. Made me totally want to run home and play Tenchu. I couldn't wait for the claws to come out in this film. Let's talk about the fight scenes really quickly here. I was underwhelmed by most of the fight scenes in this movie, and you know what? I'm going to blame the 3D because I think once again it throws a blanket over everything. There's a weird shadow over everything. There's not one moment in this movie that felt like it was actually in 3D.
It didn't need to be 3D at all.
I don't know why I'm wearing these glasses, people.
I like the train sequence a lot. I thought the fight scenes on the train was unbelievably intense. I thought that was really well handled.
It's a movie that sort of held my interest, I think, at least for the first two-thirds of it. And then by the end, once we get to the familiar part where we have to crescendo with the boss fight, just like a video game, just like every other superhero movie, then it sort of loses me.
What I am can't be undone.
I think this is a terrific film, especially for comic book fans, especially for fans of the old Frank Miller, Chris Claremont run on the Wolverine. I don't know if it's going to be for everybody, and I don't think it is a classic in the superhero genre. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. How about you?
I think if you're not a cape sniffer, you're going to be somewhat bored during this thing. I'm going to grow a couple sideburns, give it a 6.5.